Everybody ready?
Want to see?
Sunset paper.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Okay, who has paper?
Do you mind short paper?
Nope. Apparently the computer decided to hold it out for.
Plan the United States government to implement the agreement between the United States and the United Mexican States concerning transbounding hydrocarbon reservoirs in the Gulf of Mexico. Contention 1 to U.S.-Mexico relation. U.S.-Mexico relation are pivotal right now. Failure to ratify the transbounding hydrocarbon agreement kills trust in class relation. That's carried in 2012. Failure to approve the TV and put it entry criminal lines or passive police relation energy issue. The political impact that implement TV except by the U.S.-Mexico relation energy. Simply more broadly, each already comments on domestic political relation that take current political interest in Mexico. All this one such as members of the PR put there. We have application. The U.S. affiliate side agreement with the CS violence shows and the Royal Conference. And now is the key time. Investment all is the only thing that solves Riverside 340. U.S. failure to teach only side of the battle opens for shortly says increasing investment. U.S. government will be the one advocating U.S. international agreement knows consequences for relations. Now, effective cooperation is the only way to resolve the drug war. Let's present each other. So, should the current north subconscious issue take the going anti-Mexican Mexico comes in return to Mexico, the way for local economy, U.S. will weaken the effect and make it count. The economy after Mexico government like U.S. for finding positive factors drug cartels and political landscape Mexico becomes successful in political pressure for the combination of drug lords, Mexican security. Now, a strong Mexico will boost multilateral cooperation and collapse with causing international relations are critical. That's O'Neill in 2017. Mexico faces two features. It continues highly developed democracy or deteriorate weak states to depend hostage to the drug economy. Leverage broad use time to gain income increase. Defaulting economy with G20 country Mexico country important diplomatic voice starting Mexico much needed ally with how U.S. is in need of multilateral support that is not guaranteed. Mexico follows the rapidly downward spiral. The lack of safety send the economy to a tailspin, destroying the foundation for the country going to the middle class. Mexico becomes the something multilateral leaders as other nations try to learn the international fall. Trace of growing disorder are there. A deficit Mexican economy will push this into the doors, which troops and resources prosecute the board outside those such in Afghanistan trying to sustain threat to military U.S. society. Economy, the treasure map by national would be ignored. Many U.S. individuals depend on Mexico for their survival. Cream more excellent job for the U.S. and Mexico misinterpretation, misguided policy will have real consequences in Mexico future. I didn't start the timer. The U.S. multilateralism is critical legitimacy that solves this issue. I can reach justice on 10 years partial legitimacy. Well, alternative hostile international system. The secret U.S. was the ability to exercise power in multilateral framework. This has not really whatever is going alone is part of the unilateral force diminishing multilateral mechanism. Military might these hostile states prior to well from power to power dominate. It becomes apple. The neocon strategy is saying the imperial capacity cannot generate cooperation. And the fighting against the U.S. needs cooperation. Needs partner for trade, financial stabilization, environmental protection, managing the rise of China, other challenge, unconstrained global risk of backlash. Power states to trigger self-encirclement. Now contention too is Paris. Paris is done. The now to the decrease production of reinforcements for deep water drilling and prime investment. Need to realize Paris. Mexico's national oil company that's carried to us all. Mexico says top oil that's elevated with more double the oil deep offshore resource portfolio. The oil production is deep decline. That's due to the 75% decline in counterfield or oil pay. Reality expectation. The level of net import oil by 2020. This situation highlights the need for reform of U.S. housing. Mexico needs a diverse portfolio of future oil projects. Primarily and government such including the offshore privatization and intellectual research capital. Capital Mexico develop offshore fields. Paris could buy technology under current constraints. However, it is unlikely to have the resource dealing with the common fact that Paris is a bureau of the governing hard politics with multiple constituencies. Now, current reports are insufficient. International companies are trying to privatization is not happening. That's until 2010. Limiting actually covering fixed with the contract design plan finding state electric rates. Our snap over there. Fine tech was telling their gas service economy. Tenderless conservative proven resource. The question rate what the reforms will look like. That's the requirement to have economic interest. Mexico and assets are trying to provide us right. The companies would invest Mexico. If actually able to invest Mexico, expand the number of projects and the TBA solves allows the cooperation that leads to private in Mexico. Increase Russia and reforms to that. It's brought to be some 2013. The TV and rich relation linking founding and kill all close to national problem. Putting off limits for domestic reasons. Keeping more just agreement. Approving the rich relation. Keeping allow war. Major oil production with plans to common and relate to or violation. We're calling TV approval. Mexico panels continue to keep arbitration nearly used for the facility operating TV, which we subject U.S. national project people useful commonly opportunity reform. Mexico needs new production counterplanet and declining fields. The current capital advantage panels alone is unlikely to interact with oil gas abundant. International majors are needed. Now, the only other TV can lead to sustained Mexico production. That's how that's carrying to just over the Senate TV. The manager of the United States and commonly ask the U.S. and Congress for the level. They bought actually consequences out of the human plan lack of the most likely obviously like Zimbabwe U.S. offer U.S. and the human lots of border to reach more toward offering long-term increased U.S. domestic product. TV we see as a net positive. We would use the planning boosting domestic non-trade benefits are potentially much greater on the Mexican side of the world, which is especially the decline in fields. Mexico needs new production, develop offshore production, develop further survive the Mexico overflow, providing economic benefits to the Mexican state. Being actually working times to boost domestic production, provide useful commercial opportunities and boost commerce. And the worst is reverse causal. The decline causing Mexico economic clouds across the Mexico, still has plenty of the department oil supply 40% government important employment 40,000 people, oil supply use everything exposed in the world, and the fact that production is rapidly declining, causing financial crisis. Mexico have to go to the Gulf of Mexico. It will take specialized expertise, enormous finances to produce oil. Now Mexico's economy is created the U.S. is carbon squared. That's only discussed in the U.S. economic future time. Mexico points to Mexico. The first and second Mexico experience blue scopes. No, the opposite is also true. This economic increase is only deepening American. This is only factor. The U.S. Mexico state due to the U.S. government policy. U.S. Mexico economic times boost American chance to globally raise the company rapidly invest abroad. They hire more people. The company become more profitable. The conclusion is the real story. Less than multiplies for 80% value in the auto industry. Now competitive sells great power. That's produced last time. The victory costs more private profit. British shift from those power. False project planning. Company could provide great power to do consequences. These transmitted to the innovation stability power. Now the U.S. is key to global economy. Capitalist cost 9. The U.S. becomes U.S. being a rich and clean water. And should have economic goals for water. Global economy rate 7 more than 16. The country that sell the U.S. or they sell the country that sell the U.S. There's no anti-world economy. U.S. strategy global economic growth. This growth is not going to happen. Now economic leads to miscalculation and price escalation. That's Harrison Burroughs in 2009. Potential great conflict. Growing of all economic and principal inside rights. The word leads to consumer activation. Leads to escalate close representation right here. Capability. One extra miscellaneous supply. The place goes in preempts. Leading escalating price. The conflict of resources could re-emerge. Protection goes as a result to near temperature recession. Resulting in state conflict. Fiscal stimulus fund made meals. The builder region capability to counterbalance the carbon increase the differently more intelligent war. Now broad studies prove our argument. That's where we're increase the likelihood of common prices. Risk of calculating zero surveys probably to permits around complex trading decline. The likely common injury crisis sugar trade increase trade united line. That's been linked to increase the likelihood of cares of diabetes. So the government increase the center fabric externally conflict. Food stats linked to independent but a decrease in likelihood of extra conflict. Folks in the direct independence of global independence do not consider economic prices. Now our method is the best. It's false survival. That's we didn't trust order. No days ago determine the probability. Only have to state the probability is never falsified point not single live. We have to look at correlation. That's illustrated by the fact that economic dependence, vulnerability, conflict, full according to the empirical study is the exception rather than the rule. This cannot be done in empirical study. This is calculated idea perfectly, but merely the evidence is much better than complete explanation. The epistemological strategy could provide no more than a crude field or particular research in social science. Certainly beyond reach, it's better to rely on tests below supporting our decisions than a hunch. Now contention 3 is oil spills. Absent we control uniqueness. Premise is about to drill alone. They don't have the safety to prevent an oil spill, and it will happen. That shield is possible. Premise is going alone, saving the nation. So premise content no experience hard to provide. The premise never those cool understanding requires design for insurance probably no. The design generation magic. Design fully about max regulation. On US probably drilling is coming up. The next disaster is waiting to happen. Now the plan solves it. Creates joint inspections and US expertise with solid spills. That's border crossing trust all agreement, which will be the first time joint inspection with the authorized over the practice of the weed shield. We have a common safety program. Premise is not sufficiently prepared. Premise plans drill 6 more wells to include that. There's more than 600 feet where well pressure costing out and possibly go the way. The premise is not prepared to control it. Possibly to deal with Mexico have the resource to complement spill. And the US does coordination, sharing, communication, training, personnel equipment, and landing are essential. Now that protection spills over the entire Gulf of Mexico. That's a real doubt. Spells out one of the common requirements. The 2 governments without common norms of considering environmental. These means are harmonized offshore terminal standards. Escalated productive. It seems highly like the US Mexico to harmonize after the stands only respect your counter reserve. Now your resiliency arguments won't apply. The BPO spill put us on the brink. That's crazy 2011. December put the ecosystem over the threshold. The precisely ecosystem like the Gulf of stable state. The long game human continuity to abuse system. Spell only leaders by drilling present number ecosystem. Another resiliency respect oil spill. The external values were readily still in the surface. Even so popular crude oil remaining so location damage is continued. We should be concerned with the Gulf of ecosystem. The Gulf of Mexico is besieged by environmental threats. Reducing this resiliency. Disaster like the dewaterized oil spill. Now the Gulf is key global biodiversity. That's burning crossing. The Gulf of Mexico is rich in biodiversity. Having the whole only next to the world's most endangered sea turtles. The Gulf circulates around gives a biological important water enters without leads to the northern polar states. The former Gulf Stream helps regulate the climate of Western Europe. That caused the extinction. Clark and down in 2008. The biodiversity demands surrounding favorable climate pacing. The food shelter demands in the Arctic air. The soil and water ecosystem regular climate. The soil species have that endangered food supply. Lose the opportunity to new mass and chemical and empirical resources that produce water regular climate. That outweighs any regular all their impact 10 in 2000. For natural species extinction forever, the ecosystem may handle now cover human extinction more rightly provided. Society should favor the environmental culture. Decision allowed extinction of species. Destruction of the ecosystem epitomizes an irreversible and instrumental containment of resources. Natural to obtain the baseline for which all other types of extinction should be judged. Natural farming demonstrate evil which rankings nature on aspirin and parents in the humble origin. Vast environment all country antiable and just. Species conservation yields the greatest the environment and the larger animals may not care you killing environment. That human ability to protect its supply species, help protect the ecosystem. Loss of biological diversity is the gravest problem facing humanity. If we cast the question that the contaminating phenomena are descended with wolves of grab, the destruction of natural habitat is worse than the energy depletion, environmental collapse, limited nuclear war, even conflict by totalitarian government.
Actually, one second, Pat. Does that work? Can I stop Pat for 4 seconds? All right. Your Brzezinski evidence says that a relations decline weakens drug prevention efforts.
That's right.
Why are relations sufficient to solve the drug war?
Because the only way to stop the drug demand in the U.S. and also the drug cartels in Mexico is the U.S. and Mexico combine the drug
how
efforts.
does
They
the
share
US
a 2,000-mile border. The U.S. has the
how
resources.
does the U.S. solve that drug demand?
Like things
You
like
seem not to be
increasing
doing a very
border
good job of
security, like taking out the drug lords,
You're
helping
doing all
fund
of that in the
Mexicans,
status quo and none of it
and
is
it's
effective.
working.
Your O'Neill evidence is about, your O'Neill Interlink is about Mexican multilateralism, and then your Eikenberry card is about U.S. multilateralism.
There's a difference.
Why does Mexican instability decrease U.S. multilateralism?
Alright, first you mishandled the O'Neill card, which specifically says that U.S. multilateralism depends on having Mexico as an ally.
It does not say that. It
Yes,
says
it does.
the U.S. Mexico depends on the U.S. as
It
an
says
ally.
So I think Mexico could be a much needed ally at a time when the United States is in need of multilateral support.
Why is Mexico a much needed ally?
Because Mexico is an emerging world power. It's about to become one of the top 10 economies, and it's right next to the U.S. If U.S. and Mexico form a solid partnership,
So a
as
solid
multilateral
partnership
arena,
would allow them to have cooperation over
Would-
what types of threats?
not only what types of threats like terrorism, economic security, energy resources between the U.S. and Mexico, but that spills over into the rest of Latin America and the
Your
entire
Kerry
world.
evidence
Here's
is
the
about
US
domestic
legitimacy.
ChemEx reforms. How does the Aff solve that?
Because the TBA leads to the momentum for
It
domestic
cites
ChemEx reform.
constitutional amendments and constitutional provisions in
Yes,
Mexico that
there's a
prevent
debate.
investment. How does
There's
the
a debate
TBA
in
affect
first.
that?
There's two things. One, there's a debate in Mexico about the constitutional reforms. The U.S. accepting the TBA will lead to a stepping stone to pass it. The second
You don't
better
have the
argument.
answer to that question.
The second better question we will is, and we do. The second better thing is that the TBA exploits a loophole in the Constitution that specifically lets the U.S. drill in patents right now, even if there's these constitutional barriers. Which means
Alright.
that in the status
Barrow
quo,
evidence
the only
says-
person who can invest
Your
is the
Barrow
U.S.
evidence is about competitiveness because of the manufacturing base. It's not about to
You know where
define the economy
80%
as
of
a
our
whole.
manufacturing base is? It's near the border region between the U.S. and Mexico.
You
That
don't
declines.
have any piece of evidence that says economic decline kills that manufacturing base.
Are you
so.
kidding? Mexico economic decline kills the manufacturing base, 80% of the auto
I don't think
industry,
it-
less
it
than
would
known
not kill our
suppliers.
competitive.
I'm reading lines from my O'Neill evidence right now.
Yes, the auto industry. How does that affect military competitiveness?
Because guess who makes the military's parts?
Not
all
the
our
auto
jet fighters,
companies.
our aerospace industry, all those
Your
things are
broader
located in
evidence
that
says
region.
that a common that would lead to a common set of safety protocols. How is that sufficient to solve for oil spills?
So there's two things. Not only this common safety protocols, there's also the extra technology that the U.S. has and the deep advanced
What types of
rigs,
technology?
deep water rigs.
Are they the same type of deep water rigs that BP used?
No,
So
because
what's the
we
difference?
improved them since the
How did
BP
they
spill
improve them?
happened. Because the BP oil spill was caused by
I
leaking the
understand the
deep
BP
water.
oil spill was
They-
bad. What are the
I'm trying to
technology
explain
has
some tech
changed?
here. So the BP oil spill was caused by leaking the bottom. Do you want me to give an answer?
That's fine.
Okay, the order is 5 off. The Pemex advantage,
You need this one, Steve?
the spills advantage, and then the relation advantage.
No, do you want this name?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Repeat the advantage order again.
Pemex, spills, relations.
You won't give it to us.
Oh, who?
Here we go. I'm going to assume it's not the Gatsby fiction assignment.
Nope.
Let me know when you guys are ready. Good? Okay. First off is the continuing resolution just said it will pass now. Renewed interest in politically difficult compromises. Bolton Simpson and a growing number of Republican senators indicate they're willing to accept new revenues. There has been a willingness to make politically difficult compromises, led to renewed interest in bipartisan discussions, and the plan of trade-off with Congress's ability to avert the shutdown. GOP has momentum and will, but they need literally every hour to get it done. James 913, more time for negotiations, vote right, Republican leaders will call out the parties blame for shutdowns. They just want to avoid a repeat levers. Need every hour additional time for for example, coalescing on any one legislative strategy. Repeat to work with a lot of members and government shutdown wrecks CDC disease monitoring. It's key to check outbreaks. This is Walker and 11. The majority of the employees at CDC will be furloughed. The government sees operation because CDC stress. Disease outbreaks worst case scenario. energy sector be massive fabric, may not be able to properly. So we're not going to work, QPQ get out of won't be working CDC able to detect fabric to jeopardize these servers need network scale back, but it does not be able to detect fabric. The impact is extinction, common 12 disease all around us, pathogen can't spill over to people from other animals. You high effectively move through the airport influence, just like where airborne transmission separates, they localize disease from global pandemic weight outbreak and outbreaks. And now next up is the neoliberalism critique. The Aff's attempt to increase free trade in Latin America is a form of neoliberal engagement that exacerbates inequality and justifies endless intervention, causes extinction, moral obligation to put those oppressed by the West at the center of decision making. Mavana says global neoliberal economic globalization, removal, global basic commerce, and privatization of all available resources and services. Neoliberalism rejected by Latin America. The neoliberal experiment fails to combat poverty, exacerbate global inequality, and its hyper development. There's consistently the financial elite, neoclassical economists, political classes, and neoliberal policies will create prosperity so attractive position that due to determine international agency shortcomings, they also apparent economic justice suffered by Latin America have since rejected foreign corporate control. Instead, they fear redistribution of wealth, nationalization, energy, and prioritize healthcare and education. They are sharing resources no further than 50 military invasions involved Latin America. None of these countries have the capacity to threaten U.S. security. The U.S. intervened. The chasm between what is good for the economy and what serves the public good is growing fast, and alternatives to decolonize economic engagement, questioning the politics of space and knowledge that makes engagement an economic tool of manipulation is key to sustainable development. Walsh and 12 critical thinking is a space for research for new ways of thinking to practice constructive inequalities with the framework of neoliberal capitalism and inter-epistemic focus are necessary their system of decolonization on project systems the work of converting geopolitics and national place extension historical subjugated the pedagogical methodological perspective work stimulate process of collective thought and will incidents to transform the world to an intervention the transformation and decolonization frameworks and logics that we're thinking seriously reflecting on the limits of our knowledge. Now next up is topicality, interpretation. Removing sanctions is a form of appeasement. This is started in 6. Appeasement is defined as granting concession to push economics to maintain peace, removing sanctions to maintain peace without changing undemocratic practices. And DBHA lifts restrictions in the Gulf. This is DOS and 12. The transferred hydrocarbons given carbon more terminal illustration and production of the global land. And engagement is distinct from appeasement. The plan must mandate long-term interaction. Rocket 2K appeasement and engagement are not identical. Appeasement can be strategy for shorter range engagement. The implies length of process engagement broader, more wide range. Appeasement tends to be somewhat narrower in scope. Violation. The Act removes a restriction on Pemex reforms. Boating issue. First is limits. There are hundreds of unilateral restrictions that the Act removes. Second is ground. Restrictions have to devastate core negative ground like international politics dissent. So next up is the next up is the Mexico politics dissent. Nieto's energy reform will pass now. His credibility is key. Hernandez in 620 Metro on the verge of reform. Expectation of the rise of good reason. Energy reform is down and clear. Nieto has the demonstrated political will to bring about change. There are enough lawmakers with his own party. The opposition party negotiated a substantial agreement by the end of 2013. The reform will require an open negotiation among political rivals. The remains committed. Odds remain good, but the next week's months to test the president's political skills. And the plan derails Nieto's agenda. It's perceived as interference. Hennessy and Wilkinson in 13. The White House is launching Nieto's calls to reform Mexico's energy industry. U.S. companies could benefit. A public endorsed by Obama could undermine the endeavor of Mexico to understand and understand the donor attack energy. Said those issues are raised in publicly may signal irritation. The reform turns and solves the entirety of the case. It's a key to the U.S. and Mexican economies. Siskin and Sector 5 new initiative will push until off the quality big guys. Our fiscal and energy firms fissures have appeared. Fiscal firms aim to improve regulation to boost them and maintain the lowest increased credit levels, lower interest rates. Fiscal firms will increase overall Mexico financial system stability and contribute to building a more solid international finance system. Now next up is the conditions campaign. The United States federal government should implement the agreement between the United States and United States Mexican states concerning trans-boundary hydrocarbon reserves in the Gulf of Mexico, if and only if the federal government of Mexico changes regulations to further incentivize renewable energy. NATO's commitment to renewables is key to send a signal. The international community doubts its commitment to college runs reforms as Ochoa and 12. Mexico still has the clear right to family to attract private investment required to fulfill renewable energy emission targets. Financial subsidies still required. There are some concerns around whether Mexico's economic government is likely to influence the convention change climate change reform passed by college where NATO has publicly affirmed its commitment, but some believe that the administration will like to focus on convention fuels when NATO's main campaign promises have been reinvigorated oil and gas. The incoming government has a unique opportunity to establish Mexico as a leading 21st century low carbon economy, and Mexico is key to global renewables. Reforms are key. Horkuz and 7. Mexico is at a crossroads because of a geographic position and foreign policy instruments in place such as NAFTA. Mexico becoming an important exporter of technology to neighboring markets. Opportunities ahead can be lost. The implementation of aggressive energy policies and non-technical changes in the energy market and renewables can solve global warming. This is both intent. A substantial portion of global energy demand can be met by promoting environmentally clean renewable energy sources. Fuel cells can be defined as if clean energy was used to produce hydrogen fuel. Hydro, wind, and solar technology can provide 100% of the world's energy, eliminating all fossil fuels. GHG pollution will be mitigated. Warming is an existential risk. Quickening reduction is key to avoiding extinction. This is meso-intent. Without early and severe reduction of the emission effects of the climate change, or like the catastrophic stability of the security of the country's climate change could undermine the strength and stability of the emerging and advanced economies. Unmitigated climate change beyond the century could pose an existential threat to civilization. Even the best case adaptations to change and paramount changes now. The Pemex advantage. 1. Their carry evidence concedes that political interest will be a massive roadblock to the affirmative. Only proves our all-cause argument and subsumes their 2AC answer. Now second, there's a long time frame for solvency. Large-scale investments and regulations. As Myers et al. in 12. Utilization agreements and vision on TBA from the U.S. perspective. Investments will take years to get through regulatory hurdles and normal project development needs. Now spills. 1. Their spiller evidence actually says nothing. There's no reason why an agreement with Mexico would convince countries like Cuba to get on board with regulations. That independently makes the impact inevitable. Like S12 energy for Cuba also has one of the chief concerns over the danger of an accident without U.S. industry expertise on safety. The word listed from remarkable series of meetings among environmental Cuban officials and even U.S. government officials over several years. They discussed Cuba's exploration plans and shared information on the risk. The embargoes of Cuba's insufficient research and experience highly gear. Second, either fishing is the biggest all cause to the Gulf of Mexico or the status quo solved. This is Brenner and 8. About 1/3 of the Gulf is broad continental shelf with provides wealth of fisheries. Intensive fishing is the biggest factor interfering with the loss of environment. The government should cooperate and manage the entire resource sharks. The enables to boost collaboration. Marine research participants developed a framework for joint research on coral reef sharks, sea turtles, development, fisheries management, and marine protection coastal areas. Progress in sustainable governance of the region will require more active involvement and efficient communication. Third, biodiversity loss will not cause extinction. Everyone will adapt. This is NPR 7. At least 10,000 biodiversity fell rapidly, and this is reduction of biodiversity caused by humans. Every mass extinction was followed by a massive increase in biodiversity. Extinctions are necessary for creation. Now, each time the world has failed, we better adapt to species. The creatures have successfully survived extinction. Biodiversity is resilient and inevitable. This assumes there are warrants. Take off and aid. Biodiversity represents nature's extent. Biodiversity is successfully infinite species. We see our ability to count species that need to keep the planet healthy. And see if they're anywhere near the quarter million that we have now. Experience even the use of species have no effect. Genetically chill land races genetic can reduce DNA for any species to another, which is infinite to divide biodiversity. Biodiversity has no value because nature provides far more than anyone can possibly administer. And biodiversity is high and solves the impact. This is NPR 7. This is the biodiversity is important to the environment. They existed for 3.5 billion years, even though without biodiversity, the number of general planet is an indication of biodiversity. Planet biodiversity has never been higher than it is today. Now, relations. One, multi-lag fails and they have no impact. It inhibits an effective response to international crises. Leave or not, by no means society expects that in crisis situations, global governance is mostly pretext and action. The more urgent, less likely to be effective agreement conceded Bosnia, Rwanda, Iraq, Syria, North Korea, Iran, Sudan. But they illustrate the limitations of global governance. It has been possible to work with allies, however, the majority were connected by the Americans, and they cannot solve. Guantanamo is an all-cause. It decks our ability to send a credible signal of international legitimacy. And the plan's engagement fails. This is Steinman and 12. Against cooperation do not affect settlement barriers. Democracy increases probability of reform relative to dies involving mixed regime. By about a half having autocracy involved reduces the probability of agreement close to zero. Democracy are better to begin with each other. And the plan is not sufficient. Sanctions against Iran, North Korea, Venezuela are all equally important. Make the U.S. look evil. They don't change that. And the thesis of the advantage is wrong. The Western liberal order is inevitable and solved. I can vary in 11. Although the U.S. position is changing, liberal international order is alive and well. Emerging group parties no one to contest the liberal order. Brazil, China, and India have become more prosperous than the existing order. The liberal international order has no competitors. The left country will survive. And the status quo solves credibility. This is Clip 10 and 12. Obama has cornered the market on foreign policy. Principal pragmatism is the greatest asset. Obama's Washington is embracing leadership based on engagement. Obama requires leadership to consensus, multilateralism, and the short of America's alliances. Obama's signature accomplishments of the reclamation of the legitimacy of American power and aggressive democracy promotion is inevitable. The plan cannot solve this. Carolers in 11.912. Obama's engagement in democracy issues in the recent predictions of Obama were opposed by a democratic breakdown with expectations at home and abroad. Honduras, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Haiti spread pro-democratic interventions. The Arab Spring raised democracy pushing even higher than administration foreign policy agenda. And indeed, in Tunisia and Yemen, Obama's ended up being proposed in substantial ways to support democratic change, especially after the events in the Middle East. And they can't solve. They need UN reforms and regional institutions. This is Kopchin and Mount and diffusion global power necessitates global cooperation. The UN has a global reach but falls short in advocacy. Institutions of the ASEAN Global Cooperation Council, the African Union, Defense Union take shape and the South American for the same. Objectives in the region, regional devolution has advantages. And the UN global institution must be first. You will have support regardless of legitimacy. Then the current structure allows the Security Council needs to be made more effective. But the Union global power, Brazil, Germany, India, and Japan should have seats at the table as should venture powers representing the Islamic world in Africa. The Obama administration should make UN reforms a priority. Brazil holds a promise of reclaiming international respect for U.S. diplomacy.
So, the NATO credit decider link and uniqueness card is from May, and it says that any U.S. action will be perceived as interference. In June, the House of Representatives passed our plan.
So
why
there's
is it your
a
link
couple
not
of
unique and how do we-
distinctions. So first, our uniqueness evidence is not from May; it's from June, which I think is an important distinction because it post-states the argument that you're making. Second, our link
No, it
evidence.
still doesn't.
No, our link argument is based off oil reserves and restrictions. Even if it passes through the House, it's not a sufficient signal. The argument is that if the U.S. were to fully pass any legislation related to that, that would trigger the
Second question is Mexico started these negotiations while the U.S. following them up on it with derails NATO's agenda.
I don't follow your question. Sorry.
Mexico passed the plan.
It
Why
didn't.
is the link unique?
The link argument is based off U.S. interference. Therefore, if
So-
Mexico passed the plan, that would not implicate the dissent.
Why? If Mexico passed the plan and sent it to the U.S., why do they care
Because
if
the
the U.S.
only thing that
leaks
killed
their-
NATO's agenda is U.S. interference. The link evidence is specific. It's not just about Mexico.
Alright, T violation. How is the agreement between the U.S. sanctions go one way from one country to another? The TVA was a mutual agreement. How are we a sanction?
The argument is that you lift sanctions, which are restrictions on oil. We have defined that as
How are
sanction.
we a sanction?
You are not a sanction, you remove a sanction,
Sanction.
which is what we're saying was bad.
How is the Gulf moratorium a sanction when it was mutual by both countries?
Regardless, we have defined Transparency Hydrocarbons Agreement as a moratorium which limits our ability to drill oil right now. We argue that a sanction would be
That's
lifted.
fine. Case, you read this piece of Delio Gandhi evidence saying that Cuban drilling is inevitable. That's the card from 2012. 5 months ago, the last rigs from Cuba left. How do you read any evidence saying that Cuba has the capacity to drill?
One, that's an assertion that I don't think is supported by evidence. Russia and other countries are drilling now. Second, our guess evidence makes a predictive claim and says that future drilling will occur, and that makes a catastrophic accident.
Politics this at your impact evidence quote. We are at an outbreak and outbreaks end. Why will diseases kill everyone if they need a living host to survive?
So we would contest the claim of living hosts needed to survive. We would argue that diseases would kill them. We can read more evidence on that later. But our impact evidence makes the claim that a disease that we would not be able to prevent would have uniquely calamitous effects in terms of global survival and
Your link
in terms of
evidence
agriculture,
is
etc.
about GOP compromising with themselves. The GOP in the House passed the plan. Why will the plan lead to any sort of disaster in the
So
House?
the argument
House
is that
already passed it?
so the introduction of new legislation, even if it passed the House, would kill compromise.
Why? All we have to do is pass it in the Senate.
Sorry, what?
All we have to do is pass in the Senate.
Our evidence
Like
says that it would
it's
still
not
take
the
up,
House.
even if it were brought up in Congress, our argument is that it would take up airtime, which detracts from the negotiations over the
But
shutdown.
you read this card, they're saying that the Western liberal order is inevitable. Why doesn't that make neoliberalism inevitable?
Our argument is that it makes your impact solved by the status quo.
And including the impacts of the
We
case.
argue that the Aff is bad because it's neoliberal, therefore the alternative is just a way to refuse complicity with the affirmative.
And cancel. Status of both?
Conditional. Status quo is an alternative.
Okay, and the K. Do you have a single piece of evidence saying that the T-Day is neoliberal?
Our argument is that neoliberal engagement with Latin America more
Did
broadly
you just
is
say
neoliberal.
U.S. companies going into
Like, I don't know,
Mexico
like, yeah, I don't
would not
understand how
be
you're gonna win a no-link
neoliberal?
argument.
Something Mexico wants, something Mexico's asked for, something that they can't.
Opening
Something
new
the
markets.
elite in Mexico
Right,
wants.
opening new
Something
markets.
the elite not want. Something the elite in Mexico.
If you need it.
Do you need-
Not right now.
Fred, we used 32 seconds. Is it 10 minutes or 8 minutes?
I have no idea. Do you know?
It's 10.
Okay, so we have 9:28.
So one again, that the order will be relations, annex, skills, T with restrictions, Nieto energy, the QPQ campaign, Neolib K.
Sorry, can I get the order again?
Yeah, sure. Case 1AC order.
Was
Relations,
relations,
econ.
climate, skills,
Yeah.
and then T.
T, Nieto cred, QPQ, Neolib.
Is it 1AC order?
Yeah.
Alright.
QPQ Neolib politics,
Nope.
Yeah.
and it's on this flash drive.
Okay, so
1 second. You gotta pull it up.
You got a timer? Use this one because that one sometimes we press start. It just like moves out.
Ready? Yeah. Multilateralism does not fail U.S. international cooperation with other countries able to prevent war and nuclear proliferation, terrorism, and any other impact. Without this cooperation, we are inevitably going to fall into violence. But however, it's not an alternative cost if we balk on the TV. It means that the U.S. cannot work together with Mexico to cooperate over other issues in Latin America, which is going to turn the alternative cost. Now, it does not fracture colon there. Evidence not specific to Mexico, which is a G21 country rising in the status quo, which will give us sufficient, basically, it is sufficient to be the only treaty going on with Mexico. Mexico will be a slap in the Mexico face if we do not pass it. Also, the liberal order, and this is just a reason why neoliberalism is inevitable, that we will inevitably promote our democracy, which means there's no fact neoliberal is not inevitable because all our words in reverse causal international fallout will happen in Mexico. We do not pass the TBA because Mexico will shut down relations with the United States. Drug class means that Mexico instability will happen. Status quo does not solve. It's not to talk about the TBA, which is a reverse causal argument. Democracy promotion is not inevitable in the United States. All it will cause U.S. isolationism. Our next door neighbor is collapse next to, which means we cannot go out and we solve for you the regional institutions that the group has evidence is able to solve for because we engage in Latin America economy. You have uncovered this severely extent competitive. Talk great power where we have to stay in military and innovate our technology. Also put now political interest and not alternative cause. The U.S. government pushing Mexico government pushing for. There's no reason why the past TV will this change of political interest in Mexico. Not long term for relations. It's an immediate impact. Also, the investor wants to drill in the Gulf of Mexico right now, they have the technology and capability to be able to do the economic decline, causing military war, which is a turn to the neoliberal currency now spills. Yet it will get them on board with our evidence, specifically how it will lead to broader protection with the Eastern Gap and the Western Gap. About Cuba also, Cuba has left in the status quo. The last rig has left and they're not drilling, which means it's not altering cost. Fishing is not altering cost. It's not relevant to the deep water spills, which will kill all the fishes in the ecosystem and kill the under deep water seas. Now, yes, we cannot adapt because animals cannot. That's going to be too fast. And we are not going to be able to. Now, Brazil, their defense cards are all from before the Gulf spill in 2008. New hotspots mean the PPO spill. Every new spill is exponential impact. Biodiversity is high right now. That's just uniqueness for us. We collapse that through the Gulf to lift restriction. We mean this is a violent only even to cooperative drilling in Mexico is not only lifting restriction, counterprotection, economic engagement includes lifting restriction. House and Sullivan 2000 economic engagement offer 10 use economic sense the removal of penalties such as trade and we increase the amount of restriction and lifted. Now prefer one is that flexible restriction trade policy essential to design. Two is topic education resolution. Seven things like the Cuban embargo and things like that. Also substantial literature check back. There is no limit to explosion. Default to reasonable giant direction is the inevitable stop race to the ball. NATO energy. Momentum has lost its prey on post-stage Weber. National another major opposition led a demonstration schedule against a private foreign investment and East Capital Magazine before corporate prioritization. NATO appears to have lost the energetic momentum. That plan to provide momentum for report. Well, when 814, the government crucial momentum to reform the implementation, improve the Mexico energy could protected officials must consider colleagues and make gap in declining production can do no length to TV. It's already been passed in Mexico, which means there are no NATO apprentice laws. That plan is key to make reform successful. Mossouri 960, Mexico government recognizes the parts that fall into place for successful continuation to try about the agreement. Currently, Minnesota, U.S. Conference, and Eastern that we saw by anti-Americans under Branson for 29 degrees. Call Mexico fear of Jewish stuff and years ago, it comes to rivers for robbing Mexico, and simple national like go to QPQ, searching immediate competitions of voting issues to justify capital that rule the entire which makes it impossible to generate office for balance. Critical that Mexico says no, consolidate, wait, there's no clear strategy. Bringing renewable energy in Mexico, second we will oppose it. Considering one of the main opposition come from the oil company, Pemex. Now, condition Mexico energy before it kills momentum for him. Hard to 11 Mexico consider extremely sensitive for emergency ruling to public and U.S. policy by reform and United States could modify before Mexico. Conflict was also after that perspective is a voting issue, particularly capital outside the literature trees and exhaustible research now permutation due to capital has to be functionally and competition is criminal generate germane opposition. Clean tech not cost competitive. James at 3-1 the clean tech energy efficient had one for the fuel market. So for that benefit subsidy government invested externalization of their impact you can market carbon no extinction for climate change and IPCC 11 and IPCC particular global temperature to never have it right to get away with China bio community made swear the perfect to present scientific honest divided respond mark the card there permutation to go to neoliberal framework
links to relations.
Also links to relations because only the TV immediately is going to be able to solve for the neoliberals. The framework is the alternative should be judged on after the response to institutional practice shift to knowledge are usually white and no state to implement friendly to touching the individual competent or professional that codified knowledge. It's an independent individual given the institutional experience can constitute individual society is conflict reality as well. Now debating about policy toward Latin America is crucial to create change. Breed each out 10 cooperation with Latin America emphasis the local participation factors in terms of policy practice organization to co-opt social policy are merely symbolic the implementation of factors may include skills required to implement a permutation to both. And now even if they went through first you have to evaluate impact over the framework neoliberal knowledge projection. This means that impacts come before the disco permutation alternative fails alone Ferguson and announced the power let the shift for political particular let's to be the refusal engaged in the most important for the neoliberal government taking the argument to put them into new use food example should the redirected market this is public policy neoliberal program and neoliberal automatically poses attention all back to the neoliberal government. This does not mean to protect the contaminated neoliberal can be quite different represented usually applied to put in something good and needs to be ready to experience whatever possible. Now neoliberal solve poverty in Latin America Giordano Leach quote the gap of available methodology and crucially invested into the debt to Latin American to click on possible trade research conducted farming we provide the evidence support that concussion or to respond to evidence protection good for the court question how to make trade more for also trade social but in the one but the contracting indication of Mexico in the case of Brazil contributing to production which in the following that conditionalities the voting issue our interpretation equivalent countries after the consulate development debate was after the introduction of good act evidence the later debate also is not logical because the judge does not know whether to default to the status quo or any other competing policy option now go to the policy that we're not definitely not going to pass the decline in 918 public position might pull the trigger to tweaking change the economy for full delusion to the white house who to do it they no one knows actually know who the power to do the white house willing to do the white house the left no popularity began republicans and you will never get no shit on the debt now no opposition judges do that thing shows both in fact we can only make linking intrinsic regard the logic is supportable real most energy policies are all granted and PC is not granted 120 the purchase going past the nature trouble fiscal system where she's got the body to spend re-election again the theory that the president power and to forward the budget consumer but the president turned out well caused by working with his loud trade from public rate about free more after energy President he was likely to have our GOP support. Now, knowing that the House has already passed the bill and Senate is already debating, which means PC is already oil and involved. Both of the plans to dualistic for and railroad unity, oil institution, Obama institution are eager for Congress to the API told the Congress to pass the legislation quickly follow API has to string a hold Congress through can 11 of it. The Congress about one invasion, then they never have oil and gas industry in that concept. String on Congress so far that even when they have a control side for Peel's stand stand, no, like we don't spend any money, no budget fights occur. Now winners win, Hershey and 2-7 winning, we go to the section to a winning on wage calculation, connected to the capitalist bandwagon, change capital. I think if he's going to win, there's change to now overload and calm. And when I keep so many issues, so check for opposition, if you're attached to because he's 50, now no polo cafeteria, there's a brown crap. Now 8-5 over that silly Syria calculation changes capital. Obama will have the border polo capital to never lose it to Congress and Republicans to come to media. Obama will say bully public and fiscal fights now be a PC low and it fails. It's a Korean 960 depression warning and public we should have President scared on serious strikes, President approval rate, Republicans seeking to define the healthcare program now. The impact will not happen around 11 days. A bit of strict energy to there's a way around that. Medicaid needs to still fall apart on the one stop damage measure in the White House time for months they can come down. Won't pass the Republican division. Sworn compromise by White in 1912 and help you to Obama be a division for public. That's what any compromise for public leader. People have no idea to stop her. Now the Aff is able to solve for the disease of two-fist in no-two stretching nation by the drugs spreader. The rise of the drug-related violence by refugees give output influence illegal overall the capital recipients to reduce the quality of life now.
Yes. Saying that their causes of disease.
The cause says that disease does not cause extinction. That's a terminal check.
We'll take a second. That was 5 seconds. Ready for process?
Yeah.
Okay. Legitimacy advantage. So it seems like the U.S. pursues pretty bad policies in places like Guantanamo, Bagram, etc. Why does this not hurt our international credibility?
2 reasons. Our only evidence is a reverse causal argument, and it also says a strong Mexico cooperation and relations with Mexico would boost our international credibility. That's just the uniqueness for that side of the link story.
Okay, so which countries perceive our international credibility and determine that the U.S. has it?
International organizations, the UN, the Middle East.
Okay, it seems like the UN and the Middle East wouldn't condone the violent practices that take place in places like Guantanamo. One more time, how does it happen?
The U.S. policy of neglect to Latin America? They would see our engagement with Latin America as a step forward to opening ourselves to the international community. Our engagement with Latin America, with Mexico, especially since they're our next door neighbor, is very important to them.
Why do other countries care about cooperation with Mexico?
Why do other countries? Because I think our legal evidence is able to answer this. If Mexico falls out and collapses because of a drug-driven downward spiral, then they will be the subject of international communities, which will divert attention from other places in the globe. Also, U.S. cooperation in Mexico is seen as the U.S. opening into the community, so they will perceive it.
Okay. Your Goldman evidence on the native energy dissent is tagged as the plan provides momentum reforms. It says that the transparent agreement could provide crucial momentum, but I'm curious what's the warrant for this argument? Like, where does your evidence make the claim that the plan?
So right now, Mexico's energy sector is like shaky about whether to pass energy reforms or not. The TBU will show to the public and show to the PRD, which is the leftist party of Mexico, that they can protect their reservoirs from being stolen by the United States.
Okay, well, your evidence that so I was talking there where you made the argument that it shows to the public that the plan is a good idea, but
yes.
It says that officials have to convince their colleagues in the public.
Implementation would help prove Mexico's energy sector could be protected and global energy security enhanced through joint production regimes. Officials must convince their colleagues in public and constitutional energy reforms benefit Mexico's national interest. The reason it's not going to pass right now is because Mexico's officials, colleagues, and public is against it. We showed to the public and the colleagues that energy reform is good.
Okay, your add-on on the politics dissent, the one that says the Aff solves disease.
Yeah.
Your evidence is in the context of drug trafficking as well as the spread of AIDS and infectious disease. I'm curious how the Aff prevents that.
Our relations event, you can see that the one and see that the Mexico relations is able to stop and crack down on the drug cartels.
So my question is, how does the plan prevent drug cartels everywhere? Because your impact evidence is about the global.
U.S. Mexican cooperation is able to fracture the coalitions in the drug party, secure the border from them, like transferring diseases to other places, stop the transmissions of those diseases, and just eliminate the drug cartels in general.
Your evidence is about AIDS globally. How does the Aff resolve AIDS?
No, this evidence is about AIDS from the drug cartels.
Spread of AIDS and infectious disease.
You have conceded, coming out the one and see that the U.S.-Mexico relations is able to solve for the drug war. And the drug trafficking that's happening in the Tesco is spreading around infectious diseases such as AIDS.
All right, I'll take prep. What was the second voting issue on the counterplan?
Policy attitude.
They did read one specific card about how anti-blackness is the root cause of global warming,
Okay.
but otherwise it was the same stuff they always read in 1 and 2.
All right. Thank you very much.
After the card, we talked about impacting that. Is this good enough so it should be enough?
All right, stop rep. 424 more used, so I should have
531.
531. Okay.
Where are you all at?
We're at 928.
Jump this. Do you guys have a flash drive? No.
You guys, here's yours.
Oh, yeah. You mind if I borrow your stand?
Where's it?
It should be called to us.
Cool, yep.
All right, just make the shoulder this way, not that tall. The order is going to be the K, but just the conditionality debate there, and then the counter plan, and then case. In the order of relations, oil, chemics. Michael, how do you make this shorter?
I got you.
Conditionality, power plan, relations, oil spill, and PMAX.
Yep, and actually, one more second, what's the counter interpretation of conditionality?
I've got what was it?
One.
One, okay. 5 more seconds. one conditional K and one conditional counterplan. We can't cross by arguments of different worlds. First, the negative flexibility testing the different angles is key to overcome inherent side bias. And two is the critical thinking skills. Four, genius is key to rule decision making. Three is ideological flexibility making variety work and expands the breadth of education. He lets us test the aftermodeling because that's key to model decision. We need a K counterplan. This sets a one. Conditional obviously doesn't solve force reasonability. Cross by don't punish us. And let's make debate and measurable five not opposed an issue. Rejection conditional obviously is not the team. Also, we don't look strategy because we can't cross by from different worlds. Also, we link to obviously skills because of course the active path against a variety of arguments that counterplan. Overview, the counterplan condition the Aff on the Mexican government doing vaccine capacity THA to encourage renewable growth. The counterplan solves 100% of the case. That means you should go negative and risk of the net benefit. They've conceded that renewables are sufficient to solve warming as long as they're cost competitive, but also they conceded that Mexico is key to broader renewables development. Don't allow the 1AR to make new arguments here because it kills because our base 2C strategy. The 2AC now they say counterplans compete off certain TVC about this doesn't just compete off certain TVC. It competes off the A for what's a key topic where either way it's good first. It's key to understanding the minute details of policy implementation. Focus on policy process provides a better way to come up with solution to problem. Seconds, conditions are key topics specific educated topics specific education is a major issue when you get too much debate means. We internally turn the possible off and third is artificially and competitive counterplans destroys decision making and advocacy skills because it destroys the opportunity cost education and lets the actors choose what they want to answer instead of having to debate the aftermodeling is reason to reject the argument. And it's reason to reject the argument not the team that way they want Mexican rules and yet they support renewables, rising gas prices, marketing the rocket increased demand for natural gas need to left to demand Mexico is constrained. People price rates opportunity using companies in the which competing product Mexico government look favorable and renewable energy prices in Mexico will say yes and empirical renewables for China and so Mexican government doing research to determine what next time so more encouragement from the government renewable energy risen up the government since 1994 the government and these state governments put in place pretty competent policy foster development plan to be good opportunity to develop the renewable energy market in Mexico in general and Mexico will say yes empirically they support renewable energy with banks off at 13 minutes ago and that's what the next plans development projects consider also funded transition in the budget and the federal government for development projects for climate change and encourage renewable energy for multiple municipalities division for effective renewables overall and positive renewable energy price growing economy and stringent climate change target robots grid infrastructure for evidence over there's in the context of biofuels not for renewable energy to hold cite single oppositions groups and things like Pemex opposing biofuels it doesn't because that would trade off with gasoline doesn't assume things like broad renewables and solar power which the counterplan also did not say kill momentum that's irrelevant saying us take this out as long as when they're saying us in the stats when it doesn't kill momentum either way their warrants and they part of bullying that proved the link to the diss because it's seen they proved the link to the diss because the US because the Aff would also be seen as the Aff would also encourage it's bullying now they say it doesn't solve the SES it does socialization because it results in TDHA which so resolves all of their internal links their internal link is not in the context of compromise it's just in the context of the TDHA which means that it's irrelevant now they say it's voting you should not have a solvency Aff there's no bright lines to what a solvency Aff is are specific to the context of renewable reform being necessary that should be sufficient also when not having solvency Aff it's better for innovation in the context of Mexico there are no specific counterplans because there's so much engagement in it because of the way the status quo dynamic which means you prefer evidence also is key which means we should give a counterplan without a solvency Aff response so they're key to they were coming up with leads debaters to come up with a better way to come up with solutions to problems which is an independent internal link to it education without ways all the forms that permeate now on a permutation due to counterplan permutation counterplan sevens first of all QPQs are not engaged with by the engagement form policy drive business close time to engage until the ability of counterplans encourage and create the investment conditionality conscious linking to benefit the full of conditional positive conditionality to problems embedded in state goals and conditional engagement supplies have no strength attached conditionality to attach strength and should means must requires immediate legal effects numbers and 90 more than just actually should mean massive phrase to mean spectrum with the future and substantial or requires certain word phrase 64 certain present time and resolve means definite random concept definite solution and should is managed for needle action with you and double percent for what should the word must not resolve requires our TC counterplan because the world's OED and they not free or uncertainty now severance is one issue because crazy moving forward and kills neighbor they can sever disciplines and not up to clash with counterplan class is more important terminal because not just best response to arguments key to effective advocates understand the different way arguments interact being able to make good being able to make good decision now the US reject the team not the issue because the dimension argument and your balance as president for future based on the states not cost but yes it in the long-term college which holds strong national good strategy investment great time to literature back to understand the same problems put up investment not to mention money good thing good for the two that Mexico is the number of wind farms and irrelevant energy transmission in Mexico is done by the federal government which means as long as they make it cost competitive in the long term that's sufficient to solve garrison tech issue of vertically integrated electricity utility not the shift the company electricity so provided responsible for the generation transmission electricity Mexico Mexican constitution states and the government is responsible for control the development of Mexico energy now warming does cause extinction extend our massive it's called violence or intensity not as the only so never for human extinction because it makes the condition of the earth unlivable prefer magnitude you prefer magnitude also causes extinction as customer level global with that mass population complexity so orders could climate benefit integration also for not cash out tells the related by the concept and cash out scenarios the possible we do have the tools time and we're bring up a climate stability in the body government's private warming to there's not to objective from human or change the climate threat to the ecosystem there's strong and no specific human extinction may not be remote heating effects will make the world largely unhandled now permutation do both is it possible you can commit to doing something and do it if and only if the country says yes to renewables don't allow this spin differently the exact text in the treaty was permutation do both and it appears proof that pressure Mexican reforms is key one error to the federal government also put to do with procurement international country based in Mexico, adopted the United rights on motivation for the lot of conditions and fortification part of the international scene, international country encouraging Mexican domestic reforms in our case. Relations advantage, multilateralism fails and inhibits electoral responses to the international crisis. The liberal confronts are no compromise in the status quo internationally. There's no way that Mexico is sufficient to be able to broker a deal. Their evidence suggests that the Mexico might be able to help the U.S. that does not reach sufficient vital and to be able to say it actually is able to sufficient to broker the deals that their impact evidence to talk about also there are other issues that prevent effective response to disputes in the status quo. Things like Syria are more important. Also, they can't solve Guantanamo woods and all cause that hinder all evidence to decrease the U.S. credibility because it seems weak internationally. That's much more important than oil cooperation with Mexico. And the plan is also insufficient because of things like sanctions against Britain, North Korea, and Venezuela. Those all kill international credibility. Even if their internal link might be specific to Mexico, their impact is not between as long as when they cannot solve overall credibility. That is still means they do not get access to their impact. That their thesis that their advantage is wrong. Extend the academic evidence, the Western liberal order, and inevitably self versus prosperity in other countries and compromise. Second is their underlying foundation. Their impact is just about the existence of multilateralism. Even if Mexico might help the U.S., there's no evidence that collapses without Mexico. Also, third is Obama's pragmatic leadership is leading in the status quo. There's no reason they need an increase. That's the corruption evidence on the oil spills advantage. There's still over evidence that actually said nothing. There's no reason why an agreement with Mexico will convince countries like Cuba to get on board. That independently makes their impact measurable. That's the Lagrange evidence, and there's no impact to biodiversity and fair evidence and species. Will the Aff study said the site study that says 10 times biodiversity have fallen rapidly, and none of them called the extinction. Now the Gulf of Brazilian growing 13 3 years after deepwater horizon, 1% oil broken down by Mexico, the Gulf of Brazilian, reporting about the Aff spread the deepwater horizon part of the name to deepest water of the Gulf of Mexico, more resilient than able to do oil corrupt than any model sought empirics. This proved their loss impact. That's temporal. They know anything about the extinction. You can see that flaws in their model. Humans taken to bear, not inside the pure view process that becomes rocky critics and sugar. You bring that Americans with short term long prestige gone extinct to the group. We know what a hardly time for really exists. 90% of solid species are exists. We extinct. We did not come to research meet up on Pipkin manufacturers athletic and questionable science. Now on to the Pemix advantage. Competitiveness is inevitable. No impact. The running American can maintain predominance American without no challenge and many but more than that. The equity the size of the economy can manage the American to believe competitive innovation, news, manufacturing, plates, education, represent that Irish democratic trends of paper into the population contribute to predominance military